we're going to dive into portfolios and then 3D design with Tinkercad, revolutionizing the library Ed Puzzle 101, and that's actually a rep with Ed Puzzle. We have Tech It Easy, Declutter and De-Stress Your Tech Life. And from there, just want to give you all a little bit of information. We have our podcast series, which is known as Tim Talks. And if you have not heard it, we released it on the 3rd of each month. And the one that we just released is EdTech Tools. We are thankful for. Tims from across the state share the tech tools that they are thankful for. And this is the latest episode. Meeting norms for today. We're all learners. While we may have a different level of understanding of the topics, we're all able to learn from one another. We want you all to be fully present. We know that our schedules are always busy, but it is important to take the time to participate in professional learning. We all work together. We collaborate to maximize our impact on student achievement and success. Every child, every chance, every day is a non-negotiable. My name is Pernell Allen. I'm the Alabama Technology and Motion Specialist located at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB. Go Blazers. That's my contact information right there. Those other universities you see over there to the left are where other ATIMS specialists in the regional in-service centers are located across the state. I serve the LEAs that we serve in Region 5 include Bessemer, Birmingham, Empower Community, Fairfield, I-3 Academy, Jefferson County, Legacy Prep, Leeds, Magic City, Acceptance Academy, Midfield, Tarrant, and Trustfield City Schools. And this is our host today, serves Region 1. And you can see those schools there. And we're going to give Dr. Thorne an opportunity to properly introduce herself as soon as I jump off. And at this time, we will turn it over to you, Dr. Thorne.
Thank you, Pernell. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here this afternoon. And I hope you enjoy some of the resources and tools that I'm going to share with you today. So let me get over here and get my screen where I can share my screen. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Okay. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. I think that's a hot topic right now in education. It's coming fast and furious at us, and there's a lot to be learned about artificial intelligence. And so today, we're going to delve a little bit into the world of artificial intelligence, and I will tell you going in that there are so many resources out there right now for educators that it's not possible to even begin to share with you all the resources that are available to you. My goal for today is to introduce you to some very popular resources, some resources that I really like and I think are great tools for educators to use right now. However, there are some tools that we probably won't get to today. And I've also put a link in this presentation of other resources that you might want to check out on your own time. If you'll notice at the bottom here, this is a bit.ly link. And so if you want to that bit.ly link, you can do that now if you want to go along with me in the presentation. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. And just know, take a picture of that with your phone or write it down or something somewhere. And that way you can go back and you can have access to this presentation. And then later you can go back to some of these tools that I show you today. And I just want you to have this as a resource so that when an hour again is just not long enough to show you everything I'd love to show you, but it's a great way to start. Moving on, I'll introduce myself. I am Dr. Karen Thorne. I am the Region 1 Alabama Technology and Motion Specialist. This is my contact information, and this is my Twitter, or what they call X now, and my other social media platforms. And also this QR code, if you take a picture of that or go to that, it will also give you some additional contact information about me. Like I said, I'm out of the University of North Alabama. I serve Northwest region. And so if any of you are in my region and I can support you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, because that's our role and goal, is to support you in integration of technology and the integration of the digital literacy computer science course of study. Like Pernell shared earlier, there are 11 of us across the state, and We serve different regions. You can see the regions that are outlined here on the left, and you can see the picture of who serves each region. However, Region 6 does not have someone in there at this time. Miss Valerie went to be the Regional In-Service Center Director. Therefore, that seat is vacant. And so they're in the process of filling that. But again, I would like to point out that if you are not in Region 1 or even in Purnell's region, and you don't know who your Alabama Technology and Motion Specialist is, I highly encourage you to check them out because we offer so many resources and we are free of charge. So we can come into your school, we can provide special development for your teachers. We can actually come in and support your classroom teachers in their classrooms and do all kinds of activities with the students that support both students and teachers. So we're there, we're paid for and funded by the state, and we're there to help support you. So if you don't know who your ATIM specialist is, look it up and check us out because we want to help you. So like I said, today we're going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. And again, that's a huge topic to talk about. But like I said, we're hearing a lot about it right now. To understand that artificial intelligence has been around a long time. It's been around probably since about the 1960s. It's just, it hasn't been at the forefront of our thought process until about this time last year when Chat GPT came on the horizon and boom, everybody became interested in it because of all the things that it would do and how it could impact educators in the classroom. When I look at artificial intelligence, I just threw out a couple definitions here because I think they're still trying to fine tune the definition of artificial intelligence. And so everybody and every group and every organization kind of has a little bit of a different take on it and how it is defined. But I just wanted to share a couple definitions with you so you could just have a more broad understanding of what artificial intelligence is. But Ryan Cameron defines AI as the creation of intelligent machines that work and react like humans. And Matt Miller, some of you probably heard of Matt Miller. Matt Miller has done a lot of work in education from the book Teach Like a Pirate. Probably a lot of you have heard of that book, but he has recently written a book on artificial intelligence. And he refers to artificial intelligence as the ability or machine to perform tasks that would normally require human intelligence. And he goes on to say, such as learning, problem solving, decision making, and more. So I think the common thread that we're seeing here in these definitions is that it's machines that are basically operating like human beings would, in the thought process as human beings would. And while that can be very scary, and it is when you think about some of the impact that artificial intelligence has and all the things that it can do, it also can be a great tool for teachers because I have been a teacher. I've been a classroom teacher. I have been an assistant principal, and I have also been a principal. And so I know that all levels of educators, they're busy, they're stretched for time, and we've all got to find ways that we can save time. So that's kind of what we're going to look at today. Now, again, back to artificial intelligence. And some of you probably already know this, but some of you may not really have thought about it. But these are things, when you look at all these examples that you see on the screen, these are all examples of artificial intelligence that we use and have used for a while. For example, anyone use Alexa to say, hey, Alexa, play this song. Hey, Alexa, what's the weather today? Hey, Alexa, what time is it? Okay. All that is artificial intelligence because when we respond to Alexa, it responds back to us like a human being, doesn't it? I remember the first time I used Alexa and it was relatively new. It was a couple of years ago. And I thought, oh, I'm going to check this out. So I said, hey, Alexa, what's the weather today? And Alexa said, good morning, Karen. The weather today is going to be da da da. Have a great day. And it freaks me out a little bit because I felt like I had a little friend in that little box over there. And so it becomes very personal. And when you other things, we use Siri, or I know I use Siri all the time on my cell phone, getting directions and just asking questions and things like that, Google Maps, even in Netflix. Netflix begins to see a pattern in the type or the genre of movies that you're watching or shows that you're watching. And then it begins to suggest new shows or other movies or other shows. Same thing with Amazon. You ever go onto Amazon and order anything, and next thing you know, it's popping up. You might also like this, or this goes with this. So these business and industries have gotten very creative and very savvy in how that they are using artificial intelligence to expand their businesses as well. Like I said, even though it can feel overwhelming and seem a little scary, we have been using artificial intelligence for a long time. We just haven't necessarily recognized it or thought about it as artificial intelligence. So this is how I'm going to do this today. I actually created a s'more that I want to share some of the resources with you on. And then at the bottom of this, and hopefully we'll have time at the end to look at this. If we don't, I'm going to click on that right now and just take you there. But I've also listed, and it's a little article from Matt Miller that's listed 30 AI tools for the classroom. So we're going to look at today. Like I said, we will not have time to go over probably even some of the ones that I've prepared. But obviously, we will not have time to go over these 30 resources. But the biggest thing is I wanted you to also have a copy of this because you can see 30 different really good classroom AI tools that someone like Matt Miller has gone in and has vetted these that are really great tools for educators to use. And so, again, we probably won't get to that today, but I want to share them with you just to make sure that when you get access to this presentation and you want to know more, go back and look at those tools that Matt Miller has listed also, especially ones that we don't get a chance to go through today. Like I said a few minutes ago, the resources are changing so fast. And even the resources that you use on a daily basis, even those are improving and expanding daily. So know that when you may use a resource today and 3 days later, you may log back into that resource and they have updated and improved it or added new capabilities to it. So some of these will blow your mind and that are very amazing. So it's very hard to keep current with this stuff. But like I said, don't worry about experimenting with it because you're not going to mess up. You're not going to ruin anything or create anything that's going to blow up your computer or anything like that. Now, the resources I'm going to show you today are basically these resources can be used in preparation for instruction, in guidance for instruction, in assessment, those types of things that you can use for your students. There are some resources that students can use, but predominantly what I'm showing you today is for your use. And one of the things that I always tell teachers prior to looking at these resources is they're pulling information from different areas. Google Bard, for example, happens to be pulling its information from Google. So I always suggest to educators, if you are using AI to create passages, to create questions, whatever you're using it to create, always make sure that you go back and that you look over it for accuracy. Because just like anything else, when it's pulling information, it can and will sometimes have inaccuracies in there, mistakes in there, things in there that are wrong that you don't want to be sharing with students. So always make sure that you do that. And of course, with any online tool, we always want to make sure that we maintain the safety and privacy of our students. And this goes back to the digital literacy computer science course of study in teaching students about maintaining student privacy and student security and safety, because we never want to do anything that we compromise the safety of our students. So that's something as we begin and you begin as educators to and integrate this into your classroom. We know students are going to use this. We know they are. And so let's begin to teach them how to use it and how to be safe using it. So the first tool that I'm going to share with you today is a tool called Google Bard. And I'll be honest, this is a lot like Chat GPT. Predominantly, it's Google's version of Chat GPT. And basically, it's like a conversational tool. It's going to generate text or the results that you're asking for based on the input that you put into it, the question you ask, the prompt you put in. We had a training session a week or so ago, and Dr. Shields, who's with the State Department, y'all probably heard of Dr. Shields, she was actually telling us that there are now jobs that have been created that you actually write prompts. That's an actual job now, a very high paying job. Because I will say this, in using artificial intelligence, the more precise and the better prompts that you put in, the better results that you're going to get. So now that's a new job that people are going to be paid to do. So if you're looking for a job, that might be something you might consider. But I'm going to click down here on Google Bard. Notice that Google Bard is free. And as educators, we all like free because we're all limited with funds. But again, I'm logged into my Google account. So I'm going to click on board.google.com. And like I said, if you have a Google account and you're logged into your Google account and you click on that, it's going to take you directly to Bard. If you don't have a Google account, if you are not a Google system, you can go in to Google and you can create your own personal Gmail account. I have had some educators tell me that their districts do not allow them to sign up for different online platforms with their school email address. So some educators have to use and create a new Google account, a personal Gmail account because of their district's requirements. That's one thing we'll also throw in there as well. A lot of districts haven't yet created AI policies. And I always suggest that you consult with your district, especially if you are using AI in the classroom with your students or allowing your students to use AI for homework or whatever you're doing. Always check with your district to make sure that you're following AI policy according to your school or district. Anyway, here we are again at Google Bard. And notice that when you come up, this is a pretty self-explanatory little website here. Very simple, very easy. It will help you understand, create, and explore. Most of the time, like I said, I'm using it to create something because I want to put in something and I want to create something for me. However, it will do much more than that. If I just want to, it makes some suggestions here. If I want to understand a character from a book, or I want to just have Google Bard answer a question for me, it will also do that. But what we're going to look at today is I'm going to do some creating. I want it to actually respond to me and give me something that I can work with. So if you'll notice down here, you're going to see an area that you can put in a prompt. And I can type in a prompt in this area, but I also want you to notice too, that you can use the microphone here and you can actually provide a voice prompt. I told a group the other day that we think about skills that it's need right now, even just school skills, but employment skills. And I said, in 10 years, do you think that we'll even need to know keyboarding? Something to think about. Because 10 years ago, we didn't really think that we would be where we are right now. But most of the things that I'm beginning to see are actually being created so that we can use voice prompts. So I'll just throw that in there. But let's say that I want to create a 45-minute lesson on, let's say, lunar phases. Include tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 learning activities and include 5 multiple choice questions and 3 writing prompts. Okay, so now I have put in a prompt. Let's say I'm an elementary teacher and I'm teaching lunar phases. And I know that sometimes it's hard for me to come up with tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 learning activities. And so I just need a little help today. So I'm going to type in my prompt. I'm going to click on this little button right here and I'm going to click submit. And notice that this is going to spin a little bit and then it's going to begin creating content for me. Okay, now see how fast this generated content for me. It gives me the introduction. It gives me some objectives for my lesson today. It gives me learning activities and ideas for tier 1. It gives me activities for tier 2. And it gives me activities for tier 3. Okay. It also included 5 multiple choice questions. So let's say at the end of my lesson, I want to put up these multiple choice questions as a formative assessment to see how well students understand the content that I've taught or they understand the skill, whatever it is that I'm teaching. And then it also included some writing prompts for me. And we know that writing is so very important. Writing is an area that our students struggle in, that in every grade level. And you definitely see that, especially on some of our ACAT results, that it's a hard thing to fit in. So sometimes we just may want to use a writing prompt as our exit ticket or as our formative assessment. But I wanted you to see how fast and how quick and how in-depth a lesson plan that this created simply by me putting in a prompt in there. And I know that some districts have certain requirements for teachers as far as using a certain lesson plan template. I know that certain districts, if even you may work in a district that does, that requires you, for example, to use a certain reading program, a science program, or whatever. And so here's the thing that I always say. You may not be able to use this generated lesson plan exactly, but what you can do is pull from this lesson plan the things that you like that work for you and embed it into the lesson plan template or whatever program that you're using or curriculum that you're using in your class. And so when you look, like I said, when you look at these are pretty in depth, but I think back when I was in the classroom and the time that I spent thinking about, okay, what can I do? What can I do to teach this lesson? How can I scaffold this? How can I put this into 3 different tiers? How can I support tier 2 and tier 3s? And then at the end, like I said, just coming up with some very quick questions to see if the students understood the content. And I think if I would have had something like this when I was in the classroom, that would have saved me so much time that I could spend in the actual delivery of my instruction and the engaging of the students in my instruction. And, how much time it would have saved me and probably how much better of a teacher that I would have been and probably how much better of a person that Emma would have been because I wouldn't have taken so much of my time at night and on weekends doing such intense planning. And this is another thing that I always tell teachers as well. If you generate some content like this and you don't like it, print. That's all you have to do is just simply say, hey, I don't really like that. Excuse me. So I'm just going to put in another prompt and I'm going to tweak it a little bit. Hey,
Karen, I
yes.
also, you said something about Matt Miller, Holly Clark, who works with Matt Miller. also said that teachers will be able to save anywhere from 3 to 10 hours a week using AI.
Okay, thank you for adding that because I actually had not seen that or I had not heard that, but I believe it. I believe it. And we know we always say that time is money. And I know that educators right now, I have a daughter that's a second grade teacher, and I know the struggle is real in balancing work life and home life and children at home and all the things that you've got to do. So thank you, Purnell, for sharing that because I do believe that. And like I said, as the educator, the person in charge, definitely go back and definitely look and see what this lesson plan includes and making sure that it's correct. Notice over here on the left-hand side, it is going to store these recent things that you had generated. And, even just because you do it and you exit out of it doesn't mean it's going to go away. And so I will share this with you. I'm going to put in another prompt for fun. It has nothing to do with education, but every time I show this, everybody's, wow, this would be great to use. But let's say this is a personal one, but let's say I want to create dinner for 7 nights, include the recipes. Let me see. I know how to spell. It's just uh, and a grocery a and a grocery shopping list. Okay. And I always show this because, again, I think it's very fun because you talk about a time saver. We're all looking to save time. So it's basically generating 7-day dinner plan with recipes and a grocery shopping list. Okay. So now you see that it's day one. This is what the ingredients are. This is how you make it day two, so on and so forth. It's still working. But like I said, there's so many things that you can use a generative AI tool like this that you can use and save all kinds of time. Like I said, just a very fun tool to use and think about all the different things. Think about all the different things right now in your own world, whether you are an administrator, whether you are the classroom teacher. And this applies to all grade levels. I know that sometimes I share elementary examples, sometimes I share secondary examples, but this also applies to math. This also applies to social studies, science, music, whatever that you teach, you can use this tool. Sometimes I will just drop in, I will open up the Alabama course of study for a particular area, a particular grade, and I will simply say, create a lesson plan to teach, and I will just drop in word for word a standard from the Alabama standards and then let it generate for me. And so that makes it very easy when you simply just you simply drop in what you're teaching or standard that you're covering and let it generate for you. So an awesome tool that I think and you see how easy it is. You don't have to have special training. You don't have to sit and labor over it forever to figure out how to do it. You don't have to do any of that. You simply open this tool up. It's free. Type in a prompt and click this button, go, and there you are. So any comments or questions about that tool? You can and make a comment if you want. Anybody think that would like that tool? I think so. All right, the next one that I'm going to go to is a tool called Question Well. And Question Well is a really good AI tool that can be used to generate questions from reading material or other things. And I will tell you this about Question Well. There is a free version, and I think the free version is very powerful. But of course, some of these you can also buy a version that will give you more bells and whistles. But like I said, I think if with certain things, you could absolutely make do with the free version. And this is one of the things that I also share with teachers that most of these AI tools are not frightfully expensive anyway. If you find one that you really, and to me, it's got a lot of the tools and things that you're looking for. To me, it's worth the money, and it's definitely worth spending some of your teacher fee money on because, like I said, you're not spending thousands of dollars on these. Some of these are $5 a month, $7 a month. Sometimes if you pay by the year, they'll give you a discount to look at and think about as you are deciding how to spend your teacher fee money. But another, like I said, tool that I really love is called Question Well. And when you go to Question Well, like I said, it's on that PowerPoint back over here. Whoops. I mean, on this more, just questionwell.org. Okay. And when you go to Question Well, let me find where I put, there it is. All right, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click try it out. And I'm already logged in because I did that earlier. But again, I used my Google account and I logged in with just my Google account. So if you have a Google email address, you can log in with your Google account and get instant access. Again, look how easy this platform is to navigate. Okay. You can type in a topic, a subject and grade. Notice that the example here says the structure of an atom, 7th grade science. Notice here that you also have the choice of using creating your content in a different language. Now, I've worked in a couple districts that had a very high EL population, and probably some of you have that same thing in your district that you are trying to not only navigate teaching the standards, but teaching the standards to a population that have English as the second language. And so this is a really great tool that you can go in and actually create questions in the student's language. So let's say that let's say I'm teaching the life cycle of a butterfly. Okay. Okay. So I'm teaching that, and we won't put in a grade level, but this is what I'm going to teach. This is my next thing I'm going to teach. I'm going to stick with English. Notice that some of these say upgrade because the free version will only allow you to generate multiple choice questions. Okay. And then I can put learning outcomes if I want to. If I have certain learning outcomes that I want for the students, let's say about this particular standard, I can put those in, or AI will generate that based on the topic that I put in. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on Generate Set. And it's going to think for a few minutes. Like I said, it'll think, not for long, but it'll let you know that it's thinking and it's working and it's creating those questions simply based on a topic that I put in, the life cycle of a butterfly. And as it's thinking, it is generating a question set for me. And then I'm going to show you something really cool about what I can do with the questions that it generates for me. Okay. Now you see over here on the left, life cycle of a butterfly. Now you see that it has created, let's see how many it created. Sometimes it creates more than it creates others. I've never really found a pattern. But let's scroll down here and see. Okay. This time it created 20 questions. Okay. So it created 20 multiple choice questions. Again, that's the only option that I have on the free version. I can also go down here and click on write a question. So I can add my own personal question to this list if I want to. If I have a particular question that I want to add into this question set, I can. It will also do some other things here. Again, this is if you pay for this tool. But if you notice over here, it shows you the essential questions, okay, that you would be looking at in this lesson. Notice that it will also show you some vocabulary. Again, you have to upgrade with that and filter by question type. Again, if you upgrade a different question type, and then notice that it shows you over here the learning outcomes and how many questions and things like that it has on the learning outcome. But the biggest and most important thing that I want to show you is you can actually export these questions. Remember, it has generated 20 questions for me. You can actually export these questions into one of these tools. I don't know how many of you use any of these tools. I know a lot of teachers use these tools as far as, let's see if I can scroll down here. Okay. As far as some of you may use Kahoot, some of you may use Schoology, Quizlet, all those different kinds of forms that different people use, games. A lot of teachers love using something like Quiz and Kahoot, basically either to use for formative assessment or to get the students engaged and excited about the lesson. I do want to point out that one thing that I know everybody can use is Google Forms because Google Forms is free. So let's say that I want to generate these questions and then I want to export these questions into Google Form. I can click right there. I can say, I want to select all, or I go back and I can select certain ones. So let's say that I'm at the end of my lesson. I want to see how students understood again some formative assessment. I go into question well, I generate a set of questions, and then I want to select all, and I'm going to go back into Google Forms here. And notice that it's thinking again. And now it says it's all done. I'm going to go in and I'm going to view in Google Forms. Now it actually shows me that it has downloaded my questions that were generated by Question Well into a Google form. So now, not only has AI generated these questions, it has put it in Google form, and I can actually, it's just showing me a preview right now, but I can actually go into my Google Forms. I can find this form and I can share it out to students for them to complete this, even as a short quiz, like a formative assessment. However, I want to use this to give me feedback. So think about the time frame that this has saved you in the classroom, how quickly it took a topic, generated questions, drop those into Google Forms, and I can actually push this out to students in a Google form. I can use this again as a Kahoot the next day to get students wrong. I can even create something like this as a pre-assessment as I'm introducing a new standard or a new unit or whatever to see what students know prior to my instruction. So a lot of different things that you can do with questions. Now, one more thing that I want to show you, I'm going to go back into question again. One of the things that I want to show you as well, because that time I actually generated questions from a topic, but I can also put in reading content, a passage. I can put in something, let's say that I've generated or put in something that's from a textbook. Let's say I found an article. Let's say I found something on the internet that I want to put in here. I want to generate questions from. Let me show you a quick example, okay? Let's say that I'm going to go back to Google Bard, okay? Hang on. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to Bard. And let's say if I'm teaching the life cycle of a butterfly. So I can say, let's do create a non-fiction passage on the life cycle of a butterfly. Okay. And now all I'm going to do is go over here and I'm going to click on this. Notice that it's generating a passage for me. This happens to include some images as well, but I'm just going to scroll down here and I'm going to copy all this and I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy and I'm going to go over here. Let's see. And I'm going to go in this area right here and I'm going to click paste. Notice that it's going to paste that without any images or anything like that. And so now we have actually put some content in here. We put in a passage here. Again, I always say that every teacher is a reading teacher. Okay. And I'm going to once again scroll down here and whoops, let's see. And here we go. Okay. And I put it in. Okay. And don't ask me why it's not doing this. Anyway, normally, I don't know why, maybe it's something. This is probably why. Anyway, like I said, I think we have some errors in this. Let me try doing this and spacing this out and see if that's what it is. That it's not recognizing this. Okay, we'll try it again and see. Nope, no idea why we'll do that because I did it earlier. But anyway, when you put something in here and you copy and paste it into here, it will generate questions for you from a passage that you even created yourself in AI. Okay. I also want to show you another quick tool in here. For example, let's say I'm a high school teacher and I am teaching To Kill a Mockingbird. Chapter 1. Let's say I just want some questions on Chapter 1, To Kill a Mockingbird. I can actually type in that subject there and I can click Generate Sent. So it can even be as precise as just a simple chapter out of a book. And like I said, I have no idea why that would not generate. Like I said, normally it takes the images out and just does it. I have no idea, but I've done that numerous times. And a lot of teachers I know are concerned about plagiarism, copyright. And so a lot of times we don't want to get and copy things off the internet, but you can use an AI tool to generate that content, to generate that passage. And when you do, you can drop it in here and it will actually create questions for you. So again, another example, To Kill a Mockingbird, Chapter 1. And so now it's going to generate questions about Chapter 1 for you. And like I said, this one, let's see how many of this has. It also has 20. Same thing, you can actually export that again to one of these tools. And like I said, this is to me such a great tool and such a great time saving tool. And a really quick and easy tool if you want to create some, like I said, formative assessment. And to me, this is so easy that teachers can actually do this. I hate to say on the fly because I've never been one to say, oh, just do it on the fly. But if you're teaching and you get to the end of the lesson and you think, hey, I'm just not sure if they got what I'm teaching, I need to do a little formative assessment at the end, then you see how fast it was to type that in, ask them some questions, and let them do an exit slip when they leave at the end of the day. Again, a really good tool. I think is such a time saver. Just as Pernell said, think about all the time that it can save you. The next tool that I'm going to look at is called Magic School AI. And I'm not sure if any of you have heard of Magic School AI. If I had to choose one tool, this is probably my one stop shop tool because there are so many amazing things in this tool. It encompasses a lot of the tools that we've already looked at. And again, it is constantly updating what they're doing. Let me see if I can find, I think I've already signed in. So somewhere, okay, maybe it's going to make me sign in here. But Magic School AI They're constantly improving. Like I said, I'll go ahead and sign in with my Google account. They are constantly improving, changing, adding, integrating, combining. When I opened it today, it came up with a message that said, "Hey, we have taken this tool and we've created this tool. We combine them to make a different tool." So when you look at this Magic School AI, I'm going to screen down so you can just get a general idea of the things that it will do. And I'll try to do this a little slow, but notice that a depth of knowledge question generator, because I think this is such a valuable tool, because I think this is an area that we struggle in as educators, because we get in a habit of asking very lower level, basic level, surface level questions to our students, and we don't really give them a chance to go up to those next level. Again, here is another multiple choice assessment generator. It will generate some different types of questions and things like that for you, just like we used with Question Well. Here's a social stories generator, an email generator. So if you have a lot of email that you have to work with and you need to save a little time in your office, perfect tool to use here. Rubric. AI will actually generate a rubric for you. So if you are giving students projects, giving students writing assignments, those types of things, AI, you can put in, if I click on this, I'll just show you real quick that if I click on this, I can tell what grade level, what standard or objective. I can put the assignment and put the assignment description. I could also, how many points each of that is going to be worth. And I can add some customization in there as well and generate a rubric. And so I know a lot of times we want to do projects and things like that, but we know that it's time consuming to create those. So we end up not doing that. This is a report card comments lesson plan generator. We've looked at that already. Text rewriter tool. Like I said, I'm not going to go over all of these, but YouTube video question generator. So it will actually take a YouTube video and it will generate questions from that video. And I always say, if all videos are created equal, we know that. And I can hear somebody. A lot of times we want our students to watch a video, sometimes a very short video on YouTube that is for educational purposes, because some students are like me. I'm a visual learner, so I love hands-on, and I also love to see about what I'm learning. But a lot of times I know that we're afraid that students are not paying attention or not really taking videos seriously. So this is a thing that you can use, drop in a link, and it will generate some questions for you. This is also, to me, another cool tool that will give student feedback on their work. So, for example, you give students a writing assignments in a Google Doc, and they share that Google Doc with you. You can actually copy and drop that work into that feedback tool, and it will provide feedback for you that you can share with students. So something to save you a little time and something to really begin to help students understand the process of feedback. Math story word problems. So if you've got something that you're working on, word problems for students, this is a great place to go in and generate those and let those students have more opportunity to work with story word problems. Text dependent questions, informational text generator. This is an area that we struggle with as educators because our students do not like to read information text. They don't like to read that type of text. But we also know that on the ACAP exam, that's what they're reading. They're reading science passages. They're reading social studies passages. They're reading that type of content. So you want to go in here and you want to have students practice on reading content that is informational. This is a great place to generate that content. And again, if you generate that content, you can also drop it into another tool and create questions from it. Choice board generator, IEP generator, text leveler tool. I do want to point out this tool because this is an area that I think we want to support our students. We know that in our classrooms, we're a third grade teacher, but everyone's not reading at the third grade level. We're a sixth grade teacher, and everyone's not reading at the sixth grade level. We're a ninth grade teacher. Everyone's not reading at the ninth grade level. And so sometimes we need to be able to teach that same content, those same standards. And yet at the same time, we need to be able to provide some text that some of our lower level readers can understand. Also, on the flip side of that, we may have students that are advanced and reading above grade level that we also need to provide more challenging pieces of text. This is a great tool and resource to use to do that. So, for example, if I'm teaching sixth grade, but I know that I have two students in my sixth grade classroom that are reading at the third grade level, then I may go in here, I may drop that piece of text in here where it says the original text, and then I can click generate. When it generates over here, and let me see if I type paste that text. Okay. I'm going to see if this works. Like I said, I couldn't get it to work over there, but I'm going to see if it works here. I think maybe there were just, and we'll see. I'll see if it'll generate in here. Okay. It's doing something. Okay. So now basically what it did is it took this actual text down to a third grade level. So see what it's done here. But let me show you even something bigger, okay? Notice that in here, I've taken original text, I've lowered the text level or changed the text level that is appropriate for the third grade students. And now I'm also going to do this as well. I'm going to click on translate, and I'm going to translate this, let's just say to Spanish, okay? Now it is actually going to translate that piece of text above, and it's going to translate that into another language for me. So now I have the same piece of text. I have it not only in English, but I have it in Spanish. So now I have two versions that can actually accommodate the students that I have in my classroom. I'm still teaching a content to those students and still giving them what they need, but I'm
You muted, Karen.
okay. So sorry about that. Like I said, I'm gonna scroll down here. Here is another text translator tool. So if I generate any piece or have any piece of text, I can drop that text in there and I can actually have it translate. Like I said, a lot codable text generator. Like I said, this is a one-stop shop, and I know I've gone over this fairly quickly due to time. But if I had one tool that I would say, check this out, it would definitely be this Magic School AI because they are continually adding new things to it. And guess what? It is free for teachers. So I know, Pernell, we're about out of time. I've gone over my time probably. But
Yes.
again, we're not able to finish all of these, but I have links to every single one of these in this SMORE newsletter. And my encouragement to you is not be afraid to try these. You see how easy it was for me to use these. And I do believe they're great time-saving tools and will help you tremendously.
Definitely. Even with some of the tech that you're currently using anyway, I've noticed in what is it, Quiz is, AI is popping up in that. You see even in your Google Documents, AI is popping up in that. So you will start to see it in more places than that it wasn't there. So just be aware of that also.
It's like Canva. I don't know how many of you have used Canva, but Canva is a really great resource for educators. But Canva has recently added a new AI tools. Like Pernell said, you're going to see these more and more. And we could spend days on this, but I did introduce you to some of my favorites and some of the ones that I think are just really easy to navigate, are not really going to cost you any money. And I do think